This is part 2 of a bigger overall theory, and in the first part I explained my interpretation of the veil, its purpose, and the character that's potentially connected to it. This video builds off of the first, and by the end of it I hope to have achieved the following. First of all, to reveal to you the true power and capabilities of the veil, and 2, to reveal to you the truth of the pyramid race and their connection to the witness. I am very confident about this video. I've had the concept for several months now and this theory, but after taking a few extra days to research and think about things, I'm very excited to tell you all about it. For the greatest level of understanding, I ask that you watch the first part if you haven't already, and that you watch this video until the end. But with all that being said, let's get started. If utilized correctly, the veil is the path to true immortality. For the purpose of clarity, let me give you my definition of true immortality. True immortality is the ability to continue existing without your body, and the ability to live seemingly forever. I want you to take the veil, and then take this idea of immortality, and then connect the two. Nice, well done. Please keep this in mind while you watch this video, and don't worry, I'm going to be reminding you about that definition quite a lot. Now, I'm going to take a step back, and I'm going to slow the pacing down a bit, and just take things one at a time. Trust me, this will make understanding what I'm going to tell you at the end a lot easier. The veil has been used in the way I just described at least 3 times, and we're going to look at each of them. So first of all, let's look at the CloudArk on Neomuni. The CloudArk is connected to the veil, and it allows the citizens of Neomuni to appear as the holograms you see everywhere in the city. We all know this, it's cool, nice. Now let me give you a quick origin story of the CloudArk. When the CloudArk, or the earliest version of what would later be the CloudArk, was created, it was effectively used as a closet to store things. That was it. This was until a man known as Conrad Jane began to experiment illegally with this tech. You see, Jane was a man of vision. He saw this closet, and he knew that it could be used for so much more. He didn't know about the veil, or how that worked. Nobody did. Veil containment dialogue explains how the veil was kept away from everyone, and for good reason. But he knew about the tech that used the veil, and he was very good at working with it. Initially, the city was against him. After all, what he was doing actually broke their laws. He was even arrested and put on trial. But even though they punished him, they couldn't deny that he was getting results, and in the end, he became the Cloud Strider Blue Jay. And he would continue his work, expanding the capability of the CloudArk to create a whole new world for the citizens of Neomuni to enjoy. Without getting too into it, this is the current state of the CloudArk and this tech. The citizens are able to store their bodies, presumably in a way that is connected to both the CloudArk and the veil, and their consciousnesses are removed and transferred to what is effectively a server-hosted world. At the same time, though, they are still connected to our reality, as they are able to manifest as the holograms you see everywhere, and they're able to talk to each other, see you, and overall be a part of this realm. Let's circle back to my original statement about immortality. Let me define it for you once more. True immortality is the ability to continue existing without your body, and the ability to live seemingly forever. Does the CloudArk allow people to achieve this definition? No. They have successfully moved beyond their bodies, yes, and exist without them, in a mix between the immaterial and material plane, but if their actual bodies die, then they die. How do I know this? Well, look at how much effort they put into the Cloud Strider memorials. They are basically knowledge banks filled with dead Cloud Strider memories and records. If you could stay in this other CloudArk hosted realm even after your body died, then they would do that for the Cloud Striders, right? So this tells me that everyone is very much mortal, and if their bodies die while connected to the CloudArk, the souls or minds of the people will die too. Therefore, the Neomuni have not used the veil to successfully achieve true immortality, but they are possibly working on it. Where is the veil located? Where is it contained? A place called the Irkalla complex. Irkalla is the ancient Mesopotamian afterlife, where residents would, and I quote, continue a transpositional version of life on Earth. So this one instance with the CloudArk and the veil has links to immortality and the afterlife. Interesting. And keep that in mind because we will be going back to that. Now, somebody else used the veil to take a shot at immortality, and that would be Clovis Bray, the first of his name. He found clarity control, and clarity control is this. The veiled woman statues are connected to the veil. How do I know? Because, first of all, they demonstrate the exact same behavior as the veil, minus the radiation, which that can be easily explained. But both will kill you if you interact with them, like at all, and I have found recorded instances of people hearing either their own voices talk to them or the voices of people they know talking to them. So with this in mind, allow me to present to you an important point. The veiled woman statues are not statues. They are technology, and they are connected to the power of the veil, either directly or indirectly through the witness. My belief is that they are directly connected to the witness, as if they were directly connected to the veil, then it would have been very easy for the witness to find it after the collapse. That being said, the witness was made using the power of the veil, and so is filled with it. Therefore, the veiled woman statues are indirectly connected to the power of the veil, but they are connected nonetheless. This is my blunt, simple statement. The veiled woman statues are tech connected to and empowered by the power of the veil. There you go. GG. Nice. So, Clovis Bray has clarity control. What does he do with it? He uses it to create the Exos. Why? Because in his own words, he sees what we now know is really the power of the veil as the fountain of youth, immortality. And we all know that Clovis Bray was obsessed with escaping his dying body. Unlike Neomuni, he took a different approach. He used the Vex. Clarity control allowed him to take a person and remove and transfer their consciousness to a compatible body. The Vex allowed him to create that compatible body. The result is someone who can live without their body and seemingly live forever too. Now, this is where it gets a bit messy because some of the lore talks about Clovis Bray using clarity control to move the consciousnesses, like with Tanix or Atrax, for example, and other lore just talks about people having their brains scanned and then the scan is used to make the Exo. It's long story short, the point still stands. Clovis Bray used clarity control to create the Exos, and that was his attempt at immortality. Let's go back to the original definition. True immortality is the ability to continue existing without your body and the ability to live seemingly forever. Did Clovis Bray achieve that? No, he did achieve immortality, but a physical body of some kind is still required. You still need to be anchored to the physical plane, and if the exo body dies, you die. I actually think that Clovis Bray's attempt was more successful, as you do live seemingly forever, but the CloudArk approach is safer, as nobody can really hurt a hologram. With that being said though, if for whatever reason the CloudArk goes offline, if the server gets shut down, you're living forever in immortality and then you get the weasel error, bye-bye. Okay, so that is 2 out of the 3. These are 2 different groups, both human, who indirectly used the power of the veil, because the CloudArk does count as indirect. They used the power of the veil to obtain some form of out-of-body existence, and also to a certain extent immortality. But both groups were unable to achieve both, the ability to live without your body and to live forever. So really, it's just science. You have this organic, powerful entity that you don't understand, but to a certain extent you understand the potential it offers. And so you will try and get as close to that potential as possible. It's like the world discovering nuclear energy and all the different countries trying different ways to build the first nuke. Okay, let's take a step back, just in case I'm going too fast. I hope by now you understand my interpretation of the veil, and that I have helped you recognize that the veil is capable of removing the consciousness from a body and allowing that consciousness to live without it and exist somewhere else. And there's the potential for that to last forever. And I have shown you 2 different attempts at achieving this, with both attempts getting roughly 1/2 of the equation right. I've also hopefully made you realize that the Veiled Women statues, that they are tech that uses the power of the veil. Cool. Okay. So that brings us to the third group who had the same goal and potentially got the full equation right. Do you want to see them? Okay, let's see them. There they are. Apart from the moon pyramid, which gives you the fog that represents them in my opinion, there is no way of knowing if they are there or not without hearing them speak. And so this leads us to the third group, the pyramid race, the species of the witness. And this is another important point, and I want you to really hone in on this. The pyramid race used the veil to become the witness and transcend the physical plane, but they are able to disconnect from it and live without their bodies. And that is a big statement, isn't it? I know I have people in the comments furiously typing, "How do you know that? It's stupid, you're stupid." My friend, with all the things that I don't talk about on this channel, do you think I would make this video if I wasn't confident? And if you watch the full video and you can prove me wrong, go for it, but personally, I think you'll have a hard time. Now, let's get the boring part out of the way. The whispers you hear are just the witness, and I truly am telling you that this is wrong, and this is why. The witness communicates in 3 specific ways. The first is by just showing up and saying hi. We saw this with Callus in Lightfall, for example. The second is by appearing as a doppelganger. We saw this at the end of Shadowkeep, and also in the Garden of Salvation lore. Watch my most powerful Darkness Hunter video to learn more. And there's other instances of this happening too, but yeah. And the third way is by possessing and speaking through a ghost, and that's pretty obvious. We've seen this happen multiple times. And in case you say presage, I've actually gone back to presage, and with the introduction of the veil and the truth behind what the egregore are, yeah, I am officially not believing that Callus tried to speak to the witness. Nothing in presage matches the witness in my opinion, and both characters were in the same solar system, and they both had already met and they knew about each other. This was not the witness. And I'll go more into that later in my extended discussion stream. So what do all 3 of these forms of communication have in common? The witness is talking to you. The witness wants your attention and is speaking in a way that you understand. It's trying to get the message across. The whispers don't match any of those criteria, except maybe once or twice to get your attention. So with that being said, allow me to explain further. The race became the witness, but why? Was it purely to achieve immortality? No. What was it for? The witness is a tool designed to achieve the final shape. And here is a great analogy for you. I want you to take a stick, snap it in half. Easy, done. Take 5 sticks, bundle them together, and tie a string around them. Try to snap that in half, and it's a lot harder, isn't it? The witness is literally a tank. It is powerful enough to take on the Traveler, and then I guess anything else. It is pretty much unstoppable. But the creation of the collective, which is the witness, it did not erase the individual, and I can prove it. I will just say that again. I don't have to, but I will. The creation of the collective, that is the witness, did not erase the individual. If the witness erased everybody's individuality, and it's just, 1 or 2 controlling characters, why are there canopic jars everywhere? I've explained this before, but I will again. The jars or urns that you see everywhere when exploring pyramid locations are almost one-to-one copies of canopic jars in ancient Egypt. Canopic jars were used when mummifying bodies. You would take the organs out of the body and you would put them in the jar. And all of this was to do with the transition from the physical plane to the afterlife. And in Destiny 2, there are a lot of canopic jars. And in the Moon Pyramid, where are a ton of these jars huddled under? The Veiled Woman statue. And what is the Veiled Woman statue of? The gardener. But they also made this statue, didn't they? What I like to call the God statue. And what was my conclusion about this statue in its video? That this was the race's way of taking the gardener, who they knew very little about, and incorporating and integrating her into their culture and religion, so that they could identify with her more. And how do they know about the gardener's original and true form? I would say they know from dreams, that or they did in fact see her. That and this is an almost one-to-one copy of this ancient Egyptian statue of Sekhmet, with what's possibly a cow head instead of a lion head. Now, some people that I've talked to, they think that the statue does actually have a lion head, but others think it's a cow, and I'm on the cow side as well. But if you watch that video, I actually will tell you why it doesn't really matter. But anyway, if it is a cow head, and if we were in ancient Egypt, then this statue would have been of the goddess Hathor. Who was Hathor? The goddess of the sky? Rebirth after death? Rejuvenation of the cosmos? Motherhood? Yeah, it's pretty interesting, isn't it? So anyway, you have the veil, and everything that I've told you about it. You have the CloudArk, which the Neomuni used to partially achieve true immortality, and then you have the pyramid's version of the CloudArk, which is the Veiled Woman statues, which Clovis Bray used to partially achieve true immortality with the Exos. And now we have the Veiled Woman statue in, the statues in all the pyramids, and these are also associated with the canopic jars, that are then associated with the transition from life to the afterlife. And in these very areas, you have all of the whispering, which, like I said, it's not the witness, due to this literally going against the witness's known behavior. Also, for example, the witness is called the voice in the darkness, not the 1,000 voices. And so the question is raised. What is the purpose then of these statues? Why are they inside the pyramids? I will tell you. It is not just for religious or symbolic reasons, but that does play into it. Because, like I said, the statues are technology, and they are powerful, and Clovis Bray proved that. No, I'm going to give you this analogy, and I think it works really well. Imagine that you have a big house. You want the internet. You go and get a router, but the router's signal only goes so far and doesn't cover the whole house. So what do? You go and get signal boosters, which you plug into the walls and then sync those with the router. The witness is the router. It is directly connected to the veil and so has that level of true immortality. The Veiled Woman statues are the signal boosters, and that allows the race to separate from the witness but still hold on to their existence and consciousness. I want you to think of these statues as CloudArks. With this in mind, their current existence is actually not that bad then. Oh, by the way, why did the communion mission in Witch Queen happen? So the one where you go inside the European pyramid. Why were you helped through the pyramid and then you were directly whispered at on several occasions? Because in the end you realized that the Cabal were not only trying to destroy the Veiled Woman statue, but they had successfully used tech that suppressed it. With everything that I've just told you about the race, their connection to the statues and the witness and all of that, and then the fact that you were helped through the pyramid, it really changes your perspective, doesn't it? And yes, I do believe that in that mission, it was the race moving the pyramid stuff around, not the witness. I do not believe that the ships are alive. The ships were created during their golden age. They are just ships. And, oh, by the way, in case you think that it was purely because the Cabal were there at all, I just want you to remember that the Moon Pyramid let a bunch of dirty Fallen come and go whenever they pleased for centuries in order to cut up Nezarec. The race hissed at them, but that was about it. So in my opinion, them helping us through the pyramid and actively trying to kill the Cabal, there was something dire going on there. Final point. The pyramid race's way of achieving true immortality. Did it work? And allow me to give you the definition one last time. True immortality is the ability to continue existing without your body, and the ability to live seemingly forever. If you destroy the statues, the signal will get cut off, and the race will be forced to stay within the witness. But it's basically impossible to kill the witness, and it's seemingly impossible to destroy the veil. So it sounds like they did it. Or did they? Because do you know what Witch Queen's new pyramid art style also introduced alongside the redesigned canopic jars? Their actual mummified bodies. Why do that? Why go through all of that effort of dragging their bodies throughout the universe with them? As I said in my Witnesses Potential Backup Plan video, the pyramid race have the ability to kill something and cut it up into pieces and have that thing maintain signs of life. And this is coming from the Cenotaph Mask exotic. So even though they died and they cut up their bodies into pieces, they still brought them onto the ships with them, and then they didn't bury them. Which contradicts the canopic jars, by the way, because clearly they value the tradition and in the life after death and all of that. So you connect that to the Cabal and Presage that you find, and they are in a state of brain death. But they aren't truly dead. Their minds are simply falling into a quote-unquote singularity. So they're dead, but their consciousnesses are somewhere else. And then this is after getting into contact with a veil-related organism. I wonder what would happen if you burned one of the bodies and then you properly destroyed it. Because if this is part of a backup plan for the race to re-emerge if the witness is defeated or disconnected from the darkness, then it's also a severe weakness. This would then be the equivalent of the people storing their bodies on Neomuni with the CloudArk. You destroy the body, the consciousness goes too. So even with the witness and the veiled woman statues, they may still need these bodies to anchor themselves, if that makes sense. And so, to conclude, the veil has the potential to grant true immortality. The Neomuni used it to create the CloudArk, and then they partially got that equation right. The pyramid race used the veil in order to become the witness, and then they created the veiled woman statues as basically mini CloudArks, and then way later on from that, Clovis would find one of the statues, and he would use it to create the Exos, again getting about half of that equation correct. And on top of all of that, we now know that the race can exist beyond the witness, and what is needed for that to happen. I feel really good about this video and this theory overall. It makes me happier about the veil, it answers one of the biggest questions I've had about the pyramid race, and it allows me to potentially deliver to you an entertaining and informative video, and hit that wombo combo. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I can't wait to talk about all of this with you later. I am pursuing, with great haste, 3,000 subscribers, and if you think it's worth it, I would be grateful for your assistance in achieving that goal. And if you want exclusive videos, early access to videos, and much more, click the top link in the description and become a member. And speaking of which, thank you so much Detective Studios for supporting the channel and being an Ascended member. I truly appreciate it. But yeah, with all that being said, I'll talk to you later. Take care, my friends. Bye-bye.